Hi, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be doing a channeled letter from your higher self. There are three groups to choose from. Group one is the Smoky Quartz, along with this letter. Group two is the Fairy Quartz, along with this letter. And group three is the Clear Quartz, along with this letter. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups, or perhaps all of the groups that you are most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection, and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead, which I do recommend using so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to clear the energy of the group I just read for and tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we'll get into your reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Smoky Quartz, along with this letter from your higher self to you, which I will read in just a minute. I'm going to start out with some oracle cards to get maybe a feel of the kind of the theme of what's been going on lately in your life. This can tie into kind of what comes through the messages in this letter. Okay, so we have freedom, territory, mischief, risk, caching, trickery, and influence. So there definitely is an energy here of maybe being a little on the defensive lately, some difficulties that you've been through. A way in which you've had to really, with this idea of caching that ties into geocaching, sort of digging for crystals or for mineral or for treasure, you've really had to reach very deeply into circumstances that you've faced in your past, maybe some things that have been going on presently, to find the blessing, to find some optimism despite these circumstances. With trickery and mischief, this can also tie into kind of a lot of dissonance, a lot of chaos that you've been experiencing in your external world. This can tie into some kind of a heartbreak that you've been trying to kind of pick up the pieces from, some sort of disappointment. This can be heartbreak in terms of love, maybe some kind of issue or fallout that you've had with a friend or with a family member as well, or there was some deception, you felt lied to, you felt misled. And it's been very difficult for you to, again, kind of regain your optimism in some way, to kind of pick up the pieces from that. With this idea of influence, this can talk about kind of tying in with this idea of mischief and trickery, having been misled, but it can also tie into, maybe a little bit of uncertainty that you have about who to believe, who to really trust at this point in time, questioning of your own intuition as well. This extreme focus on not being fooled again, that has led to a lot of barriers, a lot of walls and boundaries that you have put up around yourself. With this idea of freedom, this almost brings to mind this idea of that you've kind of put yourself in a fortress, that this defensiveness that you have had to really exercise, with the idea of territory, just being very firm in your boundaries with a certain individual, maybe with people in general, kind of keeping people at arm's length while you have really been trying to heal, been trying to kind of recover from a particular situation or a chapter or phase in your life. That this method of self-protection, it has almost become kind of like a fortress prison at this point in time. You've sort of crossed that threshold from needing to kind of heal, needing to take that time to yourself, that hermit mode, that period of withdrawal. And now there's almost a bit of anxiety to sort of get back out there, to open your heart to love again, to, open up to maybe reconciliation with a person, either romantic, friends, or family. That there's a risk involved with that. There's some uncertainty about maybe the genuine motivations of this person, or a little bit of hesitation to even establish new friendships with people, to kind of, get out there in the dating scene, to open your heart to the idea of love again. Maybe even just a little bit of a struggle that you are having at this point in time, feeling into the reality and truly believing the reality that your situation will improve, that things will get better. It's a sense of the weight of the world upon you at this point in time, or that has been the case recently. A lot of shadow work that you've been doing, sort of looking back over times when your discernment maybe wasn't the best. Maybe you overlooked red flags in situations. You allowed people to gain greater access to you than they should have had, or you allowed situations to continue far beyond their expiration date, which led to, you kind of feeling at a loss. You feeling that you risked everything. You maybe, went through a lot of emotional turmoil. It was very difficult to kind of pick up the pieces from that, an exhaustion, a depletion, even on a spiritual or energetic level, from kind of lower vibrations that you had kept in your life for a period of time. It looks like you, again, have created some distance from that. You really have tried to enhance your discernment, looking back over in terms of shadow work, instances, experiences that you've had from the past. And it's been kind of difficult to free yourself from that. Forgiveness of self may be very difficult. Forgiveness of these other people, not in the sense of letting them off the hook in any way, but just to free yourself from the burden of what you've been carrying around, that has been very difficult for you. This idea of risk also kind of tying into a sense of feeling very comfortable in the discomfort of that heaviness. It has become familiar to you. Any kind of feeling of loss, feeling of betrayal, any anger or sadness or disappointment, as uncomfortable as these sensations are, it has become a version of normal for you. And there's this resistance to fully kind of let that go, to fully trust and believe that the past need not repeat itself in future experiences. So again, a lot of guardedness that is coming through here, as something you may have been struggling with, or, just kind of really having a difficult time sort of weighing the risks versus the benefits, maybe being a little too discerning, having a little too firm or high of barriers when new people try to enter your life, or when you're even entertaining the possibility of kind of moving forward in other ways in your life, that you feel to be almost at this crossroads period of time. Where to continue on, it's that theme of things that are beyond their expiration date, to continue on in this kind of level of withdrawal, or this level of, again, having those walls and barriers up. It's almost that you don't know if you can believe your sort of own your own discernment, your own instinct to kind of get out there, to branch out. The idea of trickery and mischief, this can talk about, fear being a liar. And there's a sense of not really knowing, not really certain if you can trust, if it's time, if you're ready to open up, to kind of move into a new chapter of your life. A fear of kind of taking a risk only to have everything kind of tumble down again, only to have to start over again, to kind of build from scratch, try to pick up the pieces once again, which may have been so difficult. These clouds here can also really tie into, this kind of fogginess, not being able to clearly see the path forward, not being able to see what is on the other side of maybe taking a risk with a particular individual, a risk of, forgiving somebody, maybe allowing somebody back into your life, or even the risk of, allowing this kind of element of forgiveness for yourself and internally within you to take place. There's a risk with, if you let that go, if you let that heaviness go, that sadness go, that disappointment and loss go, what's left? What is on the other side of that? Because that sensation, that feeling, or that theme or repeating pattern has become so regular to you, so ordinary, so familiar to you, that taking a risk, branching out beyond that, changing your outlook completely and expecting different results and the possibility of experiencing these things firsthand and in a tangible sense, it feels very outside of the ordinary. It feels very risky. It feels very uncomfortable. So a bit of hesitation at sort of a threshold of change, trying a new way of being, moving beyond something, letting something go, opening yourself up to new experiences. Entering into new territory with people, again, maybe giving someone a second chance, or new territory in terms of, opening up to new friendships, the possibility of love again, or even just life beyond whatever this kind of circumstance or series of circumstances were that has really plagued you for a while. It's really kind of haunted you. It's been something that's been a struggle to kind of work through, to kind of dig through, to kind of liberate yourself from these old narratives and timelines. And now that you're at that point of stepping forth into that new timeline, there's a little bit of hesitation and risk to do that. So I'm going to read the channeled love letter from your higher self now and see what do you want to tell you at this point in time. I know your heart is heavy and that the hills before you feel like mountains. You're too focused on what is yet to be accomplished and missing the point of all you've done. It's okay to rest. You can't keep pushing like this. Relax, receive, enjoy this moment fully. When you look back on your life, this chapter, this place of vulnerability and uncertainty will be remembered as your finest hour. You are brave beyond measure. The longer you look into the mirror of your own soul, the easier that reflection in all of its imperfect beauty will be to truly love and accept. The clouds will part and you will see clearly. Now is the time to trust in the greater processes at play than can be understood by your logical comprehension. Try to imagine yourself as I see you, and all will be forgiven. You have carried this burden within you long enough. The weightlessness of the new shape and form you are becoming may feel a bit wobbly. In time, you will learn to lean into the expansiveness of the space that is being created within you for love to enter. It's time to celebrate each new day as a milestone. A change is in the wind for you. Things will get easier. I promise. So I'm going to get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out. Just anything that resonates for you. I've got L, T, N, W, Z, M, K, G, H, and P. So those are your messages, and that is your channeled letter, group 1. I hope the messages resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I now offer pre-recorded video readings that are sent to you as a private YouTube link. Turnaround time on those is 3 to 5 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dreamcatchers, and suncatchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 2. You chose the fairy quartz along with this letter from your higher self, which I will read in just a minute. I'm going to start off with some of these oracle cards to kind of get a feel of some of the themes you've been dealing with in your life lately, kind of what's going on that can relate to the messages that come through in this letter. Okay, so we have communication, growth, gifts, freedom, protection, mimicry, and fear. Okay, so you may be having some psychic gifts that are coming online that are a little bit overwhelming for you at this point in time. With the idea of growth, this can talk about ascension symptoms, some kind of an enhancement to your spiritual gifts, to your psychic gifts. With communication, this can really talk about a lot of signs and synchronicities that you are getting. This can tie in as well to kind of the presence of maybe spirits or energies that you are sensing around you at an enhanced or more frequent pace, or in kind of a different or more of a tangible way than you may have been used to experiencing these things previously. With freedom, this is an expansive energy that ties in with growth, where there is this urge to kind of explore these things more, to delve into these things more, to try and find kind of the meaning or even decipher what is coming through in terms of, these signs and synchronicities, these messages that you're getting, these epiphanies, these downloads, even dreams, things that you're perceiving, things that you're seeing with your third eye, maybe a lot of clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience is really, and all the other clairs are really kind of coming online fast and furious for you at this point in time. There's a little bit of fear, a little bit of hesitation, and uncertainty of if this is just trickery, kind of what's the origin of these things? What is the genesis of these things? Are these things coming from, high vibrational beings? A little bit of fear even. It's coming through as well that you may be kind of sensing passed on individuals, so like ghosts or spirits, people from the spirit realm. This is a timeless reading, but when I'm recording this, we're right kind of on the precipice of Samhain, of Halloween, October 31st, when the veil is the thinnest. So definitely that ability to kind of peer into, the spirit realm, the other side of the door, the realm of death it's extreme. It's heightened at this point in time. It's easier to kind of make that crossover between thresholds. And so there could be a little bit of fear on your part, what you're sensing, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, what you're hearing even, little kind of bumps in the night, strange things that are occurring. There's a little bit of hesitation about what's the nature of these things, what's the origin of these things. Is this friend, is this foe? This urge to kind of protect yourself or protect your energy, maybe even feeling your energy being kind of pulled on or drained in some way that's leading to a little bit of panic on your part, a little bit of uncertainty, a little bit of questioning if this is trustworthy. Can you trust in this process? Is this for your benefit, or is this something which is adversely affecting you? A sense of almost, these gifts or this kind of increase in activity or this ascension that's going on. There's a sense here of, I didn't ask for this. I didn't think it would be like this. Maybe you've been on a spiritual path. You've been very open to that. You've been exploring your gifts. You've been setting that intention to be shown, to know, to experience spirit in a more tangible manner. And the method of delivery for that, it's a little outside of your comfort zone. It's different than what you expected in some way. You're second guessing a lot of these signs, kind of the idea of things, that are appearing for you, kind of the very, ordinary and benign things you may have been used to, seeing feathers in your path, seeing coins in your path, seeing 1111, angel numbers, things that are very kind of, like the basic signs that people see when they're kind of early on in their ascension journey. You're very comfortable with those. Those are predictable. Those are known. You have attached an origin, a meaning to these things that feels good, but it's almost a sense of now there's an enhancement. It's like a new layer. New things are starting to show up. Spirit is spirit, and spirits are communicating with you in a different way, in a louder way, in a more intense manner. And there's an uncertainty on your part if this is trustworthy. What does this mean? A lot of these signs may even be contradictory to what you have seen. There's a suggestion here of almost a shift or a deviation in your path. The path that you were walking, there's now kind of a reimagining of that. You're getting ready to almost go up to the next level. And there's a little bit of fear associated with that. Fear of maybe derailing your efforts up to this point, a bit of hesitation or a lack of trust. And if you're going the right way, it's different than the horizon or the destination that you were headed toward, that you had envisioned, that you would come to understand about the nature of who you are, your gifts, kind of your purpose in this lifetime. And so there is this kind of this pull, this longing to explore this, to grow, to expand, to step outside of your comfort zone or your boundaries in some way. But also this energy of fear that's kind of holding you back from doing that, a fear of even exploring these things. Or if this comes even in terms of, communication or interaction or experiences with kind of with the dead, with spirits of people who have passed on from their earthly life, there's a little bit of hesitation about maybe opening that door, opening that communication, entering into that dialogue in a more tangible or regular manner. There's a fear of almost, kind of what you'll be interacting with. Fear of, is this trustworthy? Is this for your highest good? So being very drawn to that, but at the same time, kind of trying to pump the brakes a little bit as far as how fast, how rapid, and how intense this development is. A path that you're being sort of called down, that you're getting these nudges towards, even a lot of signs leading you towards that direction, encouraging you to explore this, to participate in this kind of communication, to kind of deepen your relationship with spirit or with spirits in like a mediumship capacity. But then there's this uncertainty, kind of a feeling of maybe some of the things you've done to kind of protect your energy up to this point. You're feeling a little bit exposed, a little bit vulnerable, wondering if you need to amplify your protection, if that's enough, if this is a wise decision to kind of lean into this, or if this is something that you need to really try and guard yourself from, you need to try and push away rather than lean into. So kind of a crossroads of uncertainty. It's almost this feeling of growth is happening and you're digging in your heels. You're almost being dragged in this direction and trying to protest that. Almost a little bit of again, uncertainty or mistrusting your intuition, being hyper vigilant almost about these things, very jumpy, very uncertain, very, very uncomfortable with the feelings and sensations and what you're experiencing, and kind of this leaning into it, but then almost this urge as well to kind of ask spirit to turn this off, to sort of stop this, to sort of reverse this flow, reverse this polarity. But you're still kind of being led in this direction anyway. It's relentless, and there's almost this sense within you of kind of with the fear, with the scarecrow here, the false evidence appearing real. Are you making a bigger and almost attaching negative connotations to things that in fact are just outside of the box, or a reimagining of your comprehension of these phenomenon, this layer of reality and existence, the nature of energy that you are unfamiliar with? Is this just hesitation because you're stepping into new territory, or is this genuinely something where you need to be hyper vigilant, you need to be concerned, where you need to kind of call on that protective energy. So a sense of really, stepping out into the unknown, stepping out into new territory. It's almost this kind of feeling of like the first day of school. If you've gone to a new school, you're the new kid, you're the new student, and sort of that feeling of hesitation when you're walking in those doors for the first time. It's that, an uncertainty. You're not sure what you're going to encounter, what you're going to find, who you're going to meet. And so kind of flowing with that, but at the same time being a little bit hesitant about where does this all lead? What is this process going toward? You'd become very comfortable with who you are and where you were on your spiritual path, and now there's been almost this up-leveling or this increase in a very kind of dramatic and unexpected manner. So I'm going to read the channeled love letter from your higher self, your letter to you, and see what do you want you to know at this time. There is a deeper meaning to the dreams you have been having. The chaotic images you see and the faces that feel so familiar are gatekeepers to a level of personal power you are ready to access. Look beyond the surface of what you see and recognize the nudges towards conquest. It's your own fear standing in the way. It's you versus you. You are about to enter a vibrant new chapter of your life. Many dynamics and ideas you've had about the nature of who you are and the purpose of your experiences are about to be reimagined. On many levels, you are trying to make sense of the dissonance and quake, which are the harbingers of these changes. Do not attack the blessings which are trying to surface from within with more fear. You're better than that, and it's time to look deeper at this situation and these feelings and what you experience in dreams. The birth pangs of your ascension will give way to more confidence, clarity, and strength than you realize from the current level of your awareness. Your purpose is calling you. Let the hands of the divine architect shape you into a form that is greater than what you might have planned for yourself. So I'm going to get some initials now. This can be first, middle, or last name, or it can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got V, T, X, M, W I B G D L and S. So those are your messages, and that is your channeled love letter group. Or I'm sorry, your channeled letter. I'm used to doing channeled love letters. This is your channeled letter from your higher self, group 2. I hope the messages resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I now offer pre-recorded video readings sent to you as a private YouTube link. The turnaround time on those is 3 to 5 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose the clear quartz, along with this letter from your higher self, which I'll read in just a minute. I'm going to start with some oracle cards to get kind of a feel of what's going on currently in your life and your energy that can tie into the messages that are in that letter. Okay, so we have fear, protection, displacement, grief, territory, mimicry, and play. So this can definitely talk about a period of time where you have been very guarded. You have been kind of withdrawn into yourself, healing from some kind of a grief, some kind of a loss, some kind of a heartbreak. You have had to kind of come to terms with what you have experienced in your past, and kind of pick up the pieces, repair that as much as possible. A lot of internal conflict, a lot that was kind of torn asunder by this experience. that it's been very difficult to kind of pick up the pieces from that. With this idea of play, this can really talk about kind of a self-love journey that you have been on, a period of time where you've been really needing to kind of nurture yourself in order to kind of deal with this heaviness. You've had to really take the time to kind of find the meaning, find the blessing. You've been focusing a lot of your attention on maybe spending time with people that help to uplift you, or, spending a lot of time sort of taking care of yourself, quiet time, watching your favorite movie, watching your favorite show, being very gentle with yourself, feeling the feelings as much as you can, processing a lot of grief. Could have been a very heavy period recently, a lot of tears that have been shed, a lot that you've had to really unpack as well, about perhaps a happily ever after that didn't come true, or that was going well for a while and then things really fell apart, and it's been a struggle to kind of look on the bright side of that. There's a fear as well with this, also with fear and mimicry of kind of the past repeating itself, a little bit of hesitation to maybe get back out there, meet new people, open your heart to love again, that whatever this experience is, it has made a lasting impact upon you, kind of the damage that this has done, that you have sustained because of this experience. There's a lot of emotional scars, a lot of emotional wounds and baggage that it feels like a very dark period of time, like a dark night of the soul, and there's just been these little glimmers of hope. You've been doing the best that you could to kind of pick yourself back up from that, to try and be optimistic, learning to almost dance within the storm, with all of this kind of rain and these crows sort of like playing in the puddles, that there's been, again, a lot of heaviness, a lot of tears, a lot of sadness that you've been dealing with. And it has been a process to, really just accept where you are at, accept what has happened, come to terms with that, and to kind of make the most of this time, of this experience. Almost like with this idea of territory, this grief has become your home in a way. You're not really, you've acclimated to that in a sense. It's just become like this regular reality. This idea of mimicry, it's sort of a lot of deep things that have been triggered within you. It's bringing up, and you've been dealing with and facing a lot of these shadows, a lot of these repeating themes or archetypes in your life, a lot of deep digging, deep dives within yourself, that kind of this experience, this grief and this, these tears of sorrow, it's almost like a domino effect, that these things kind of lead you into all of these deeper layers of yourself, these deeper layers of the shadow, to kind of unearth that core within you, that core of hopefulness beyond all the heaviness and the experiences. You've really had to dig deep to kind of find the treasure in all of this, the blessing in all of this, the meaning in all of this. Whatever ways you have really utilized, whatever modalities or methods that you have employed to really, kind of pick up the pieces or learn to love yourself despite these things. Love yourself in all the ways somebody else didn't or couldn't or wouldn't. Kind of what that treasure you found within, the ways in which you repaired your heart, or in the process of doing that, you're very protective over that. You could be kind of keeping people at a distance, very hesitant to sort of let people in, let new people in, a fear of kind of the past repeating itself. Again, a lot of kind of these themes and archetypes, so the same character showing up repeatedly in your life in different forms and different dynamics. You've unearthed that. You've pinpointed, and you've been able to, recognize some major categories of experiences, some major karmic lessons and cycles that have been at play repeatedly within your life. You've displaced that. You've broken free from that. You've been doing that work, that shadow work, that purging, that healing, trying to kind of move through this darkness and this heaviness. And there's this idea of this shadow work has become such routine. It's become such regularity to you. And the benefits, the way that you feel inside, as heavy as this is, there are these glimmers of hope that are coming through. There's this expansiveness that is becoming more clear to you. There's a fear of almost letting new people in, or letting new love in, new friendship in, new experiences in, out of fear of kind of derailing the work that you've done at this point, that it has been such a struggle. It has been almost, in a way, your full-time job, this healing, this recovery, this, picking up the pieces. You've been very dedicated to this. You take this very seriously. You honor that place within you that it has been such a struggle to find. Coming into this place of equilibrium, sewing your heart back together as best as you could, or picking up the pieces of your life as best as you could. That this is something, this new routine, these rituals, these practices, this way of being that you have established, this new life you have created for yourself. You're very discerning. Your circle might be very small. It might be just a limited number of people that have access to you at this point in time. And it's almost that your discernment is heightened. It's a very high standard, which is not a negative thing. You've raised the bar in some way. You are no longer entertaining, those same kind of low vibrations. You've been able to identify and kind of pick out certain archetypes or themes or kind of characters that keep showing up in your reality. You may have been through a couple different tests of kind of people from the past maybe trying to resurface. And then rather than kind of entering back into that same old cycle, you've chosen a different path. You've extinguished that. You've broken that tendency within you to kind of fall back into old ways. There's a lot of victory to be celebrated with that. A lot of recognition that you have of just how far you have come. And there's a protectiveness as well. Not allowing anyone to kind of dampen your vibration, not allowing anyone to dim your shine, not allowing yourself to shrink down to fit the expectations of other people. And that this hard work, you have reached this milestone, you have raised your vibration. It might be a very kind of lonely and somewhat isolated existence because you're not resonating as much with kind of people and circumstances that at one point in time you tolerated, you participated with. You put up with this grief and this kind of chaos and this displeasure that you were experiencing. Now you've increased that standard, and it's kind of looking all around and maybe it's very stark, it's very bleak. There's not, it's not a lot of people around, a lot of straw men or straw women that are approaching you or that are kind of in your peripheral, people that are just not vibrating at that same frequency as you. It's a difficult time to find people to resonate with, friend, or even, in terms of romance and love, maybe even it's a hard time, relating to your family or your coworkers, things in a lifestyle that you in some way have outgrown. You've raised that vibration, and it feels very desolate and alone. You're in a place of personal power, but it's a very small circle that you have around you. Maybe just like one or two, if that, kind of close people, as is often the case when we are doing those kind of deep dives and that deep shadow work. We are in this kind of lone energy, that hermit's journey, needing to go within, and kind of, the memories of the people that we once flocked to or flocked to us. We don't resonate with them. We're not on the same frequency. It's very hard to kind of acclimate to that environment. It's that feeling of being in the world, but not of it. And so that could be kind of the stage that you are at right now. Really celebrating kind of the milestones where you are at in this journey. And at the same time, extremely vigilant about not falling back into those same categories, not allowing those same kind of straw men or straw women, those same kind of, empty tactics or empty approaches, or, those kind of same themes or archetypes that may come up in forms of disguise. Kind of mimicking a high vibration, mimicking this vibration of love or apology or, open-mindedness, only to just kind of be able to sustain that for a short period of time. And you dig beneath the surface, there's very little there. It just kind of falls apart. It collapses. Being extra careful not to kind of embroil yourself in that same kind of pattern or cycle, or entertain those same individuals or same types of people, those same types of situations, because you have been through a period, you're so familiar with that grief and that struggle and how arduous that was to basically kind of pick those pieces up. So you're protecting this treasure, this new life that you have created for yourself, that, this new kind of chapter that you're getting ready to sort of step into in other ways. You've completed a lot of the work, a lot of the growth, closed out a lot of karmic cycles. And you're again in that period of sort of not a lot of people around calling for your soul tribe, but maybe not having really encountered anyone at this point in time that resonates with you. either directly in your environment or just not a lot of people that you can connect with, even online, or just, even ideas that you once might have had, theories or schools of thought or practice that had really, beliefs and ideas that had resonated with you. You've almost outgrown these things. You've almost transcended these things. And it's just kind of, it's this new territory that you're in, and you're waiting for the others to sort of show up. You're sending out that call, you're sending out that vibration. You're okay in your solitude and your kind of lone energy, but there is this feeling of, is there anybody else out there? Is there anyone out there? You're sending that call out, and it's just kind of echoing, or it has been echoing at this point in time. So I'm going to read the channeled letter from your higher self now, group 3, and see, what do you want to tell you at this time? You're about to meet someone who will change your life forever in the most wonderful way. There has been a sense of anticipation growing within you of an event which is to occur. Your tendency to confuse this magnetism with the arrival of disaster is unfounded. I know your experiences historically have been uncomfortable, disappointing, and at times tragic. Your walls are high, and you monitor the perimeters of your energy with hawk-like precision. Your valuing of self and the urge to protect as a remedy to times when you were too yielding is admirable. It's time now to allow. The one who approaches is a blessing. You have healed and remanufactured yourself beautifully. This soul, the one who arrives imminently, will add to the measure of your existence. The patterns of the past have been shattered. You are beyond all of that now. Open your heart to receive this love, which will arrive in a surprising form that will take your breath away and will be exactly what you need. This one stays. The friendliest of gentle love remains in your life forever. Don't panic. This is nothing you aren't ready for. Love wears many hats. This is your season to remember the healing quality of good company. So I'm going to get some initials now. This can be first, middle, or last name, or it can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got Y, H, T, M, S, F, R, V, X, and C. So those are your messages, and that is your channeled letter, group 3. I hope that the messages resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I now offer pre-recorded video readings that are sent to you as a private YouTube link. The turnaround time on those is 3 to 5 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dreamcatchers, and suncatchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.